Welcome back to Big Red Radio. This is Bet the Mortgage. Every single week, we give you our favorite bets of the college football weekend. Last week, I went 3-0. Zach went 1-2. We are now 11, 18-1 as a group. So right back on track as we started off terribly. Stay tuned in, subscribe, hit the bell, never miss an episode. Like the video, follow us on all the socials in the description to get all the extra content as well. But yeah, Zach, not a great week for you. Really great week for me. We did have one differing pick, Florida State, Virginia. I had Virginia, you had Florida State, and you were pretty adamant about it, and I feel good that I got that one right. Felt pretty good about it. So 3-0 for me. I started off terribly, so I needed a big turnaround, and I got one. But you got anything before we get in?
No. I will say though, 2 weeks. Don't be surprised if we're positive. 2 weeks.
Yeah. We could be positive after this week. No, we can't.
So
No, we can't. Oops. All right. So I'll go first. Wake Forest is my first one. Plus 6.5 versus Virginia Tech. I think it's very simple. I think Wake Forest should win the game. So the fact that you're giving me 6.5 points against Virginia Tech, I know I could get into this and overthink it. Vegas knows something I don't, but I watched this Wake Forest team. They should have beat Georgia Tech last week, who I think is a lot better than Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech fired their coach, so I'm just not ready to trust them, as I said, over a team that should have beat a really good ACC team last week in Georgia Tech.
yeah, my first one. Going off of one of my losses last week, Miami minus 4.5 versus Florida State. Not that Florida State looks bad. Not they look bad because they're not bad, but I do agree with you now. I think they might have got lucky with some preseason rankings early,
Mm-hmm.
catching Alabama a little bit off guard. I think Alabama's kind of found their groove now. Um, Miami is just so good. There's a
Yeah.
lot of people picking Miami to win the national title, which I don't think will happen, but I also don't think is that crazy. Realistically, 4.5 points. Like Miami could come out. Like this is not a game where they're gonna let Florida State come back and claw back in. Like this is foot on the throat kind of rivalry game. They're gonna try to run up the score as much as they can and embarrass Florida State. I see Miami winning this by a landslide.
Yeah, no, definitely. It would have been on my slate if I didn't have some other ones that I like better. So my first one is Mississippi State, my second one is Mississippi State plus 14 against Texas A&M. Both these teams are much better than I thought they were going to be coming into the season. I think I can safely say that now. Definitely more so Mississippi State. They're legitimately a top 25 team. I don't think you can give them 14 points against anybody in the SEC. I think they played Tennessee last week and they were right there. They could have won that game against Texas A&M. I know that everybody loves Marcel Reed. He's not playing extremely well right now. He hits a lot of big plays and he's good with his legs, but he's going to have a blow-up game where, the big plays don't happen. He makes a few mistakes and he's just not going to look good. Against Notre Dame, where everyone after that game was like, this guy is the leader for the Heisman, he completed less than 50% of his passes and a few of them should have been picked off. He hasn't been playing as well as everybody's saying. And Mississippi State is playing very well. And Tennessee, who I think is a better team, or just as good as Texas A&M at the very least, Mississippi State should have beat them. So I think 14 points is a lot, and I think Mississippi State covers.
Yeah, my next one's gonna be Navy Air Force under 49.5. This is a game where they are going to probably compete to see who can win without scoring over 20 points, right? And so, 49.5, that's a 26-24 ending would go over. I just don't see that happening. I see only one team scoring over 20. not two, but I don't see either team scoring over 30. And
Yeah.
so I think this hits with ease here.
I think the only scenario where that game goes over is if Navy just absolutely obliterates them, which I could see happening. But I think it's also very realistic that they both just continuously run the ball and kind of bleed it out. My final one is Maryland plus 6.5 versus Washington. Washington is traveling across the country, like completely across the country. I don't know if you could find a longer trip unless you're like USC. I guess USC to Maryland is probably a longer trip, but
USC Rutgers.
right, yeah. So literally across the country, east to west is what, or west to east is what Washington's doing. And I don't think they're as good as everybody thinks they are. I think Maryland is better than people might think they are. Maryland's definitely got a really good quarterback. I know Washington has a good quarterback too, but we saw them really struggle last week against Ohio State. And I know a lot of people are going to struggle against Ohio State, but I just think you got the blueprint. Maryland has a good defense. Not a great defense, but a good enough one to keep this game close. And I could definitely see Maryland winning this game. So 6.5 points seems like similar to my Wake Forest bet. Just too many points.
Yeah, my final one, one that it's kind of just a gut pick, to be honest with you. Iowa State money line over Cincinnati. I do think Cincinnati is a good football team, but I also think that calling them a good football team rides a lot on calling people they beat a good football team, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they lost to Nebraska 20-17. I think Nebraska is a very good football team. They kind of beat Kansas bad, but it wasn't that bad. It's kind of weird. It just was it. I mean, am I wrong? Was it?
I think you're very wrong. I mean, they scored like a last-second touchdown to win it.
Oh, okay. Never mind. Yes, correct. Yeah, sorry. I thought for some reason I thought they ramped the score at the end. But that's also like how good is Kansas, right? How good do I
Right.
think Kansas is, which ties into how good are some of the teams that they played. I mean, Kansas got essentially walked by Missouri. But yeah, I mean the Cincinnati Kansas game just looked like two teams seeing who could play worse defense, especially in the past game. Iowa State has a very good defense, and they have historically. I just think that they're going to be the better team. I think it's one where it's like Cincinnati can do everything they can, but Iowa State overall, I think, is just the better team. I think they just come out with a win on this.
Yeah, no, I could definitely see it. I think Cincinnati. I mean, I'm going to trust Vegas on this one. I think Cincinnati wins, but I could definitely see it going either way. I came into the week before I even saw the line, probably thinking Iowa State was going to be favored. But hey, I'm going to trust Vegas whenever I get those
Yeah, I
weird
mean,
lines.
if it was in Ames, I mean, there's no doubt.
Right, right. And I think on a
But I
neutral,
don't think Cincinnati's a hard place to play.
Iowa State probably is favored, but yeah, it being a home game, probably favors Cincinnati.
Yeah, I just don't think Cincinnati's a hard place to play, and it's not that far. It's the
Right.
third trip. I think um, Iowa State plays a very similar defense to Nebraska, which obviously locked down Brendan Scoresby, and so I think it kind of plays in their favor.
No, I'm excited to see it. So yeah, that'll do it. Make sure you follow us on all our socials, subscribe, hit the bell, leave a like. Comment down below your best bet of the weekend. Zach, you got anything else?
Nope.
All right. We'll see you guys next week.